Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you a brand new Q&A video, as you no doubt can tell from the title of the video. So, this video, just as the ones before it, will focus on the highest rated comments from the one before, the video before. If you have a question that you feel like you would like answered by me, and especially if it wasn't covered in the previous videos, feel free to leave a comment below. Highest thumbs up ones will be picked and answered in the next video, which I think by now this series will be a monthly occurrence. So yeah, feel free to ask, and it's not always just the top rated ones. I do pick out some that have no upvotes, so yeah, give it a go. Okay, let's jump into it. First up, Schmitty asks, where do I see FEH in 5 years? Still around, and the best version the game has ever been. Okay, so you know, the thing with FEH is, and like Nintendo mobile games, is a little bit of uncertainty, because if I know my stuff at the top of my head, I think the Mii game, Miitomo, got shut down, and you know, FEH is kind of like a different case where it's really successful, and it's still even successful to this day. Probably not the sort of sales that it's had from year 1 or year 2, and it's probably been on a decline, but still, it makes a lot of revenue, and I'm sure it's very lucrative for intelligent systems and Nintendo overall. So I definitely see it lasting 5 years or even longer. A lot of mobile games do last, you know, tons of years, because they're very low upkeep. They don't cost a lot of money. So I do feel like Nintendo probably will keep it around as long as it makes as much money as it does, because that's ultimately what matters most to the company. It's a business after all. If anything, I expect there might be like a FEH 2 or like, you know, some other variant of Fire Emblem as a mobile game after Heroes. Maybe when they decide to shut down Heroes, which hopefully isn't soon, they'll have some sort of game that comes after it. And I would definitely, you know, love the opportunity to play more Fire Emblem. I mean, who wouldn't when you're a Fire Emblem fan? The best version the game has ever been. To be totally honest, I feel like the game gets better as time goes on, and that's probably a very controversial opinion, because the game was really shallow and really bare bones years ago. And even up to a year ago, it still kind of was. Now the game has, you know, daily endeavors through the means of Ether raids for like high-level gameplay. It has your weekly kind of obligations through arena, allegiance battles, and arena assault. It has ongoing events that are pretty much non-stop. There's no gaps like there used to be. And it's all scheduled and very organized compared to what was pretty much the first year. And a lot of the months were just like, so what's next? You know, like you just have these moments of just nothing, no communication. You don't even know what to expect, which I guess could be kind of, you know, cool, because you're like, you don't know what to expect. But to be honest, I like this very organized method, and I like that it feels kind of like an MMO where you have like dailies, weeklies, and just like passion projects and competitive projects you can look for, you know, months ahead at a time. Like I have in my notebook, which isn't with me right now, but you know, it's nice to be able to list out like Grail projects, Feather projects, orbs to be saved for, you know, legendary mythic banners down the road. And I really appreciate that sort of progression in this game. It's really good. So I feel like it gets better and better. However, there definitely is room for quality of life changes. You know, the arena system, the fishing system is kind of outdated by now. Arena Assault maybe doesn't need to be 7 maps. Could probably be 5 maps. You know, like very minor changes like this could go a long way. I feel like the next big update for Book 4 should just work on improving the modes we have and making them as painless as possible for people. That's really all I would say. There's a nice distinction between the modes though, you know, so I appreciate what IS has come from years ago. Okay, moving on, we have Robert H. asks, how long have I been married and how did I meet? I am currently not married, so yeah, I guess that answers the first part. But I do have a significant other, and I do live with her, and we met near the beginning of this year. Yeah, I mean, things are good. I don't really have much more to say, but if you did attend the Three Houses stream on Twitch back when it came out, the game, you would have seen her there. And she does a lot of behind-the-scenes work and support, and, you know, we spend a lot of time together, usually playing other video games or watching TV shows, and we're both teachers. Plus, she's also kind of gotten into Fire Emblem recently. She likes like shooter video games, and we play them together. Stuff like Resident Evil 5, 6, Halo, co-op shooter games mostly. Thinking of trying out Borderlands next. That'll be pretty fun. But yeah, she tried like Three Houses as her first Fire Emblem game, and she did enjoy it. But you know, it is a time-consuming game, and we're both pretty busy people. So, you know, in time, hopefully she'll get more time to play. And of course, Heroes kind of downloaded it, re-rolled, played it, and whatnot. But we'll see. My Broken Cucumber says, what are your thoughts on the current state of AR? Is there anything you'd change, and if so, and you were in the position to do so, how would you go about doing it? You know, I'm actually not a fan of the Ether Rays changes, overall, I would say, unless it's with, like, the long-term goals in mind. And what I mean by this is, like, AR has become a little bit too easy. Like, it started off as a very competitive mode, didn't have escape ladders, there were a lot of matches to be played, and there was a high risk, high reward in playing Ether Raids. But now, there's pretty much only 8 matches per week. If you double up all your matches, you can fish your rematches as well by just having a free win for someone who finds you. And that, you know, that could usually give you information that makes the matches at the end of the week easier without having to commit to a front page match. And on top of that, because of 4 ladders with these 8 matches, it means like 50% of your matches, you can just leave. Like, you can give up, and that means that the mode overall has become easier. Now, from a casual perspective, if you don't have a lot of time to play the game at a high level, this is a good thing, and I'm just merely pointing out my opinion on this. I feel like it's gotten easier, and I just want them to hopefully make it somehow harder in the future, and I feel like they probably will. You know, as new things get released and the meta changes, as we get more Astra and light mythic heroes on offense that could potentially and probably will be better than Air or Naga, it does mean that the meta will adapt accordingly, and that's what I love about Ether Raids. Like, it just feels like it never really feels the same. You play like Arena, and you realize that, you know, it's just like armors and dragons all over with the occasional dual skills thrown in, units like that. But because they're running a dual skill, they don't have an optimized skill set, so it ends up not being that threatening, to say the least. But yeah, Ether Raids, I think in the future we're going to see more than tier 27, maybe up to tier 30 or tier 32 or something like that. Not only to encourage people to continue merging mythics, but to allow more matches per season by also allowing the Ether Fountains and Amphoraes to be upgraded using, oh, I don't know, the 4,000 Heavenly Dew that I've accrued by now that definitely should be used at some point. So, yeah, it's starting to feel like arena medals are gathering up. Yeah, add more tiers and maybe more rewards in general. I feel like, you know, maybe the higher tiers should reward even more grails. Maybe like doubling up to like tier 30 or something. That way, you know, you're really trying to maximize your gameplay. By adding in more matches per week, that'll just make the mode overall just harder because there's less retries through the ladder. The ladder has just made the mode like easier overall, and that's okay, you know, for some people, but I do appreciate having a challenge, and it hasn't been challenging lately. Next up, Master Yoshi asks, do I like other RPG games or other kind of games like racing or shooters? Greetings from Paraguay. What's up, Master Yoshi? Yeah, so I kind of mentioned this a bit earlier. I do actually play like every other genre at some point or another. My favorite genre is strategy, and a lot of strategy games. Like, I've been big on StarCraft, Warcraft, Hearthstone, you know, card games that weren't necessarily Fire Emblem Heroes, Fire Emblem, obviously. Like, strategy games, I love them. Turn-based or real-time, doesn't matter. There's a lot that goes on in my brain when playing strategy games, so I love it. And you know, and any other type of genres that also kind of allow the strategic element are a lot of fun. So RPGs, a lot of them, like Final Fantasy, might have like builds and stuff that add a strategic element to it, and I love that sort of element to playing those games. Shooter games, I played like Overwatch. I played you know, World of Warcraft or RPGs. So there's definitely different genres I played. Right now I'm playing shooters with my significant other, and I'm not playing Fire Emblem Heroes or Three Houses at this time. Yeah. I mean, I'm just a lover of games, and I've played everything. Platformers, Mario Maker, Zelda, adventures, like it goes on. I don't think I've necessarily avoided playing anything in particular. Even racing or sports, which I play a lot less of, I have delved into stuff like Gran Turismo 3 from like years, decades ago at this point, and not really much for sports, but I think I have played a bit of FIFA. That's probably my least common genre. Okay, Lukey asks, will I ever make a series about weapon refineries? It's easy to lose track of all the units you get that get them, and ones that get a huge level up from having them. As dues are hard to come by, you have to use them wisely, so I thought that it's something that could be good to cover. Now, on one hand, I do make the weapon analysis videos, not weapon analysis, unit analysis videos, the comparisons between current 3 and 4 star units that have viability in the current AR metagame, and these videos are made with a timeless perspective in mind. It means that you should be able to see new heroes come out and then refer back to the unit analysis videos for comparable options. So for example, Blue Lance Flyer gets released, you can look back and find my Blue Lance Flyer video and remind yourself what works. Now, so if I made weapon refinery videos, I feel this would get a bit redundant. So what I'm gonna have as an idea, and this has already been written down, is I'm likely to recommend what you should weapon refine using your Divine Dew. And this should help like newer players to work towards good units to weapon refine overall. Without even writing the video, I could already tell you that the #1 priority for most, if not all players, should be Male Corrin as like the first unit you should weapon refine, because that weapon is so impactful for pretty much every mode to support some unit to get the job done. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing for that, but that is basically what I'm going to do. And I think you know, this idea is a good one. I had already had it in mind, but I just needed to organize in a way. I don't know when that video will come out, but maybe within a month or two. And the final question is asked by BD30. Have you ever considered wearing contact lenses instead of glasses? Do you actually wear them sometimes? I have tried wearing contact lenses from time to time, but the optometrists that I've seen have said I have an eye condition called like I don't know the exact term, called like hypersensitivity eyes or something like that. Anything that gets too close to my eyes, I start like rapidly blinking. So I can't really apply contact lenses without tearing up a lot, and basically it just becomes pretty painful. So even if I wanted to wear contact lenses, I realistically can't. And that's okay. I actually prefer glasses and the look associated with glasses rather than contact lenses. So yeah, that about covers that. Okay, so thank you as always for those of you that participated in the comments below for all these wonderful questions. As always, leave what you want to know about me or Fire Emblem or anything, any opinions you might want to get to know me below, and I will definitely cover them in the next series of these videos. If you're curious and this is like you just happen to jump into the 4th video in the series, go watch the other ones because you'll probably learn something about me, and hopefully I can learn something about you. Don't be afraid to also, put comments below, talking about yourself. I mean, I do read all the comments, so if you want to say something about yourself, feel free to. I mean, I like to get to know some of you guys too. So that pretty much is it. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you all. Peace.